Alrighty, guys, it's Tuesday, June 13th, 2023. And if you want to see who I'm picking in the Brewers-Twins contest here today, that game's being featured as my daily best play on patreon.com/BrockPage. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content right away. We're going to start off with the Braves at the Tigers, 6:40 p.m. East. Atlanta's minus 265, totals 8.5. Spencer Strider for Atlanta, Reese Olson for Detroit. And even though Olson's been solid in a handful of innings, the Tigers just don't want to score for him. Detroit's averaging fewer runs a game than any other lineup in baseball. Now, they're going to have to face one of the toughest pitchers to hit in the game on the Atlanta side of things. Spencer Strider's got 121 strikeouts and just 73 plus. Strider's also backed by an Atlanta lineup who loves to hit the baseball. These guys are currently in the top 3 in hits per contest. Ronald Acuna has the highest batting average on the ball club. Matt Olson's the team leader in RBI. Now, injury-wise, Marcell Ozuna's questionable for the Braves. Vierling and Green are out for Detroit. Now, total-wise, 3 out of the Tigers' last 4 at home did get over the total. They're also 15-8 to the over against the National League. Now, the Braves on the other side, they've gone 9-4 to the over in their last 13 interleague road games. Give me the Braves minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Next ball game, Blue Jays, Orioles, 7:05 Eastern, first pitch. Toronto's minus $1.45, totals 8.5. Chris Bassett for Toronto, Dean Kramer for Baltimore. Now, Kramer's 6-3 on the season with 59 strikeouts. The O's also have a top 5 run-producing lineup in the American League. Austin Hayes has the most hits on the roster. Adley Rutschman has the second highest qualifying batting average in the lineup. Now, they're facing a Toronto team who struggles within divisional competition. These guys took the loss in 8 out of their last 11 divisional road games. And out of 21 total contests against the AL East this year, the Blue Jays got the W only 6 times. They're going to have to improve in divisional play, or their playoff chances, even wild card chances, might be in jeopardy. And as good as Chris Bassett's been this year for Toronto, well, these Blue Jay pitchers, they do tend to get in trouble while traveling. They're currently in the bottom 10 in runs allowed on the road. Now, Belt and Kiermaier are questionable for Toronto. Ryan Mountcastle's questionable for the O's. 6 out of Baltimore's last 10 meetings with Toronto did get over the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. They're also 61% to the over against AL East opponents. Give me Baltimore plus 1.5, over 8.5. Next matchup, Rockies, Bo Sox, 7:10 p.m. East. Boston's minus 235 at home, totals 9.5. Cutter Crawford for the Red Sox, Chase Anderson for Colorado. Now, these Rockies hitters are having a tough time scoring runs away from Denver. These guys are in the bottom 3 in run production on the road. And pitching-wise, the Rockies allow more runs and hits per game than any other pitching staff in the National League. And they're facing a powerful Boston lineup who loves to hit the baseball at Fenway. As a matter of fact, they're averaging a league-best 10.03 hits a game on their own diamond. Masataka Yoshida has the highest qualifying batting average on the roster. Alex Verdugo leads the team in hits. And even if the Bo Sox struggle at the dish, starting pitcher Cutter Crawford, he's been more than serviceable despite his current record. The righty's got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.04 whip. Now, Blackmon, Crone, and Bryant are all out of the lineup for Colorado. When it comes to the total, the Bo Sox have definitely seen their fair share of overs at Fenway Park. They're 22-12 to the over in their own stadium. And that's good for 65% in that particular category. Give me Boston minus 1.5, over 9.5 runs. Next contest, Subway Series, Yankees at the Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. The New York Mets are minus $1.50 in Flushing, Queens, total 7.5. Max Scherzer for the Mets, Luis Severino for the Bombers. And out of 20-plus innings of work, Severino's got an ERA close to 6. He's yet to record a W. When it comes to offensive production, the Yankees are a bottom 5 hit producing team in the American League. And unfortunately, they don't even have Aaron Judge back in the lineup yet. They're going to have to face Max Scherzer on the mound for the Mets. And he's got a handful of wins on the season. The righty's also got an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.18 whip. Now, these Mets pitchers, they have done a pretty, decent job at Citi Field this year. They're allowing only 7.5 hits a game in Flushing, Queens. That actually puts them in the top 5 in the National League in home hits allowed. Pete Alonso's still out for the Mets. Aaron Judge inactive for the Yankees. The Bombers did see 8 out of their last 10 ball games stay under the posted total. They're also 67% to the under this year against NL opponents. The Mets on the other side saw 3 out of their last 4 at home stay under the total themselves. Give the Mets minus $1.50, under 7.5. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Brewers at the Twins, 7:40 p.m. East. Now both teams are minus $1.10, pretty much a coin flip in this one. Very evenly matched lineups here, total 7.5. Pablo Lopez for Minnesota, Corbin Burnes for Milwaukee. And if you want to see whether I'm making a play on the money line, run line, or total in this one, this game's being featured as my $1.99 daily best play on patreon.com/BrockPage. And just a reminder, guys, if you sign up for my daily best play here today, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. And as an added bonus, guys, you're also going to get access to that very membership every single day for the next 30 days, absolutely free. It's going to be included with your $1.99 purchase here today. Moving on, it is going to be Giants at the Cardinals, 7:45 Eastern start time. St. Louis is minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Jack Flaherty for St. Louis, Alex Cobb for San Francisco. Now, Cobb's got a handful of wins on the year with an ERA of 3.01. And for some reason, the Giants do the majority of their hitting on the road. They're a top 5 run-producing team in the National League while traveling. Of course, a good amount of that is thanks to Thairo Estrada, who currently leads the lineup in a bunch of offensive categories. J.D. Davis, he has the most RBI on the roster himself. Now they're taking on Jack Flaherty, who's definitely had some control issues. He's walked 40 batters already, and he also has a 1.50 whip. Now, no real surprise here, guys. The righty's also got himself a losing record on the season and an ERA in the 4s. Now, the Cards do currently find themselves dead last in the NL Central, and they're 8.5 games back of the Pirates for first place. O'Neill and Nootbaar are out for the Cards. When it comes to the numbers, St. Louis has allowed over 5 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with the Giants. So once again, if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. Now, they're also 19-13 to the over at Busch Stadium. Give me the Giants plus $1 over 8.5. Next contest, a little divisional matchup here. Angels-Rangers, 8:05 East. Texas is $1.35, totals 9. Cody Bradford possible for the Rangers. Jaime Barria for the Angels. And as much as I want to back Texas here, it might be tough to hit Jaime Barria here today. He's got only a couple of losses through 39 innings. He's currently got a 1.85 ERA. Now, Barria's also averaging just about a strikeout an inning. He's also got a .97 whip. And even if Barria struggles here today, he is backed by a top 5 hitting lineup on the road. Shohei Ohtani's the club leader in hits, homers, and RBI. Gio Urshela, he has the highest qualifying batting average on the roster. Now, they're facing a Ranger club who lost 4 out of their last 5 themselves. And they gave up a whole bunch of runs during that stretch. Now, it also looks like Cody Bradford on the mound here today. And, he hasn't been great this year. The lefty's got just 10 innings under his belt. And he already has an ERA in the 7s. Now, Brad Miller's still out for Texas. Looks like Max Stassi's still inactive for the Angels. LA's gone 63% to the over against the AL West this year. They're also 21-13 to the over when they bat first. Now the Rangers are 21-9 to the over at Globe Life Field. Plenty of overs between these two teams. Give me the Angels plus $1.15, over 9. All right, next contest, a little NL Central action. Pirates at the Cubs, 8:05 Wrigley Field. Chicago's minus $1.40 at home, totals 8.5. Jameson Taillon for Chicago, Luis Ortiz for Pittsburgh. And even though Ortiz hasn't been great, the Pirates are playing some really good team baseball right now. They're 7-3 in their last 10, and they've been real good in divisional play as well. They've won 10 out of 14 contests against NL Central opponents. Now, Brian Reynolds leads the lineup in most offensive categories. Jack Sawinski's got the team lead in homers. Now, they're facing Jameson Taillon, who's got just one win through 42+. He's also got a sloppy 7.02 ERA. And even if Taillon throws well here today, the Cubbies have struggled against the NL Central themselves. Chicago took the loss in 7 out of their last 9 divisional home games. Cody Bellinger is still out for the Cubs. Edwin Rios also inactive. 8 out of Chicago's last 10 outings fell under the total. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh's gone 11-3 to the under in their divisional ball games. Give me the Pirates plus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Next contest, Reds Royals, 8:10 Eastern start time. Kansas City's minus $1.20, totals 9.5. Jordan Lyles for Kansas City, Brandon Williamson for Cincinnati. And even though Williamson's allowed his fair share of earned runs, it really hasn't hurt his team much. He's yet to record a loss on the season, and the Reds have won 5 out of their last 7 interleague road games. And speaking of contests away from home, the Reds are certainly having no shortage of offense. They're averaging over 9.1 hits a game in their travels. They're actually a top 5 hit-producing lineup away from their own field. Spencer Steer. He has the highest qualifying batting average in the lineup here today. Johnny India leads the ball club in hits. Now they get to face Jordan Lyles here today, who's kind of like fresh meat to a hungry lion. I mean, this guy just gets brutalized. He's 0-10 on the year with an ERA close to 7. This Royals lineup also can't score for shit. They're a bottom 3 run-producing team. Isabel and Pascatino are still out for Kansas City. Meyer, Senzel, and Fraley are out for the Reds. 5 out of Cincy's last several interleague road games did get over the number. They also went 60% to the over in their last 10 more recently. Now, the Royals saw the over cash in 6 out of their last 10 against National League competition at Kauffman Stadium. Give me the Reds plus $1, over 9.5. All right, next ball game, it is going to be Nats at the Astros, 8:10 Eastern start time. Houston's 260, totals 8.5. Hunter Brown for the Astros, Patrick Corbin for Washington. Now, Patty Corbs has a handful of wins on the season and 46 strikeouts. The Nats have also had little issue producing hits in their road games. They're averaging nearly 9.2 hits a game in their travels, and that actually puts them in the top 5 in the league in road hits per contest. Joey Meneses is hitting a team-best 307, and he leads the club in RBI. Meanwhile, Jamer Candelario and Lane Thomas, they have 60 RBI between the both of them. Now, they're facing a Houston club who struggled to get the W here recently. They're just 1-5 straight up in their last 6, and they've had some serious problems at the dish in a handful of those games I just mentioned. And speaking of offensive woes, the Astros, they just kind of don't want to hit at Minute Maid Park. They're actually in the bottom 10 in home hits per contest. And even more bad news for this lineup, slugger Yordan Alvarez, he's still out of the lineup. So more offensive problems for the Astros. Alvarez currently on the 10-day IL with that oblique injury or something wrong with his core. Now for the Nats on the other side, Robles and Pineda still out for them. Now, the Nats went 7-2 to the under in their last 9 interleague road games. Meanwhile, Houston saw 4 out of their last 6 ball games stay under the total themselves. Give me Washington plus 1.5, under 8.5. Next contest, Guardians Padres, 9:40 Eastern start time. San Diego's minus $1.70, total 7.5. Joe Musgrove for San Diego, Tanner Bybee for Cleveland. Now, Bybee's got just 1 loss on the season with an ERA in the low 3s. This Cleveland pitching staff also has excellent control. They're walking only 2.4 batters a game on the road. That's nearly a league best. They're facing a Padres lineup who has all kinds of problems getting base runners themselves. They're averaging fewer hits per contest than any other lineup besides one. And in their last 14 interleague contests, the Padres got the W only 5 times. Nelson Cruz is still out for the Padres. 5 out of San Diego's last 6 at Petco did fall under the total. They're also 11-3 to the under in their last 14 games against the American League. Now, the Guardians are 67% to the under in their interleague ball games themselves. Give me the Guardians plus 1.5, under 7.5 runs. Next ball game I have for you, it is going to be Marlins at the Mariners, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. Seattle's minus $1.50, totals 8. George Kirby for Seattle, Edward Cabrera for Miami. Now, Cabrera's got a handful of losses and an ERA in the 4s. The Marlins also play their worst baseball away from South Beach. They have a losing record on the road, and they're in the bottom 5 in producing runs. Now, unfortunately, they're going up against George Kirby, who's got a handful of wins and exceptional control. He's walked only 6 batters this season compared to 61 big strikeouts. And no real surprise here, the Seattle pitching staff as a whole, they walk a league low 2.5 batters per contest. Now, injury-wise, Garcia and Chisholm are still out for the Marlins. Miami's also gone 60% to the under against the American League on the road. Give me Seattle minus 150, under 8. Next ball game, Phillies, Diamondbacks, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. Philadelphia's minus 135, totals 8.5. Zach Wheeler for Philadelphia, Zach Davies for Arizona. And through a smallish sample size, Zach Davies has only 1 loss in the year, and he averages just about a strikeout an inning. Now, the D-backs also have a top 5 run-producing lineup. Corbin Carroll's the team leader in hits, batting average, and home runs. Meanwhile, Lourdes Gurriel, he has the most RBI in the organization right now. Now, they're facing Zach Wheeler on the other side of things, who does not have a winning record right now, and he also has an ERA just about in the 4s. Now, the Phillies do play their worst baseball away from home, and what I mean by that is this. Out of 36 contests away from the bank, the Phils currently have a win percentage of just .361. Now, 3 out of Philly's last 4 road games did get over the total. They also went 8-2 to the over in their last 10 meetings with the Diamondbacks. And Arizona's actually averaging just about 7 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Philly. Give me Arizona plus $1.15, over 8.5. All right, next contest, Rays at the Athletics, 9:40 Oakland. Tampa Bay's minus 255 away from home, totals 8.5. Jalen Beeks for the Rays, Hogan Harris for Oakland. And through 15-plus innings, the Hawksters already got an ERA in the 6s. And even if Hogan has a good showing here today, the A's can't hit for shit at home. They're currently dead last in runs and hits on their own field. Now, they're facing a Rays lineup on the other side of things, who actually hits more than any other club on the road. These guys are averaging over 9.4 hits a game away from Tampa. And once again, that's a league best. They lead the league in road hits per game. Of course, a lot of that is thanks to guys like Wander Franco, who actually has the most hits on the team right now. Meanwhile, Isaac Paredes leads the roster in RBI. Now, the Rays saw their last 3 Jalen Beeks starts all get over the total. They're also 7-3 the over in their last 10 meetings with Oakland. The A's allowed nearly 7 runs a game during that span. Give me the Tampa Bay Rays -1.5 over 8.5 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It's going to be in that White Sox-Dodgers game, 10:10 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are -220, totals 9. Tony Gonsolin for Los Angeles, Lance Lynn for Chicago. Now, Lynn's got a losing 4-6 record with an ERA close to 7. The Sox are also just 12-21 on the road this year. They're also in the bottom 5 in hits per game away from home. Now, they're facing Tony Gonsolin, who's got just 1 loss in the season and an ERA in the 2s. Now, the righty Gonsolin also has a sub-1 whip. And speaking of this Dodger pitching staff, they allow fewer runs a game at home than any other club in baseball. Trace Thompson's still out for Los Angeles. Billy Hamilton inactive for Chicago. Now, the White Sox are 60% to the over against National League opponents. LA also saw 3 out of their last 4 at Dodger Stadium get over the total themselves. Give me the Dodgers -1.5 over 9. With that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Atlanta Braves -1.5 over 8.5 runs. Orioles +1.5 over 8.5. Boston -1.5 over 9.5 runs. New York Mets -150 under 7.5. I have no free pick for you in the Milwaukee-Minnesota game. That game's being featured as my daily best play on patreon.com/BrockPage. Give me San Francisco +$1 over 8.5. LA Angels +$1.15 over 9 runs. Pittsburgh +1.5 under 8.5. Cincinnati +$1 over 9.5. Washington +1.5 under 8.5. Cleveland Guardians +1.5 under 7.5 runs. Seattle -$1.50 under 8. Arizona Diamondbacks +$1.15 over 8.5. Tampa Bay Rays -1.5 over 8.5. With my next and final free pick for the video, give me the Dodgers -1.5 over 9. With that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on patreon.com/BrockPage, just keep in mind if you sign up for a package here today, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my Chairman podcast absolutely free. It's included with your purchase of the Chairman membership. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great YouTube or TikTok. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.